Hi guys, Josh here and welcome to Snapshots. So today we are looking at loading film. So we're going to be looking at loading your basic 35mm film camera, and I'll also be showing you how to load two different types of medium format film cameras, which in essence kind of is how you kind of load all medium format film cameras to an extent. But anyway, why don't we get started and start with the 35mm film camera. There's definitely been two times where I didn't load my film camera properly and it ended up with me missing a lot of great shots. What you do is you put in your film canister, you put the knob down and that kind of like keeps it in place. And then on the other side here, you kind of have your taking up spool. And it has these little slits on the side here. Now you want to put it in nice and deep as you can, because if you just do it slightly, when you go to move the film forward, it might slip out. Keep it in track, and then you're just going to take your film winding lever, push that across. It is taken up enough for me to kind of close it, and yeah, good to go from there. But if you are a beginner, I would recommend that you just do another one, just to keep it nice and tight, make sure it's all good. Look at the top here, and as you advance the film forward, it should turn. Now if it's not turning, that means the film's not loaded properly and it's slipped out. But if it is turning, that means your film is good to go. And now I will say, loading a Leica is very different. I don't own a Leica, so I don't really know how to do that. But this is just the majority of your 35mm film cameras are exactly like this. Now I'm going to be loading a Mamiya C330, but this is very similar to how you kind of load your Pentax SLRs like the Pentax 6769 or your Mamiya 6, Mamiya 7s, and even your Fuji GW 670s, 690s, and all of those ones. Basically, so you open up the back, you want your film spool on the right side. So here you want the blank spool on the left. If you're shooting with like a Pentax 6769 or a Fuji GW 690 or Mamiya 7, it's going to be kind of reversed. The spool will be on the right, but basically yeah, you just flip this over and you kind of get the idea. And you want to load it in so that the backing paper, the white side, is facing you. And as you can see on your empty spool, there are these slits again, and that's where we want to feed the backing paper through. So you've got your little tip here. You want to bring it over, put it in there, and then you kind of, with here we have a film like crank wind, but with your Pentax 6769s, your Mamiya 6, Mamiya 7s, or your Fuji GW 690s and whatnot, it's going to be just like a shutter advance lever like with 35mm camera. And obviously there's a little arrow that shows where you want to stop, and here we've got a kind of a red dot, and that's where you want to line up your arrow to. Other cameras might have like a little arrow pointing there, or a larger red dot, but it's all basically the same in principle. And so once you've reached that, you want to close your camera, make sure it's nice and locked in, and then you just advance it until you get to your number 1. And so lastly, we're going to be loading a Mamiya 645, and the way this is loaded is very similar to a lot of medium format cameras that have separate backs that you attach onto your camera. With like your Mamiya RBs and RZs, or your Bronica 645s, or SQs, or the other Mamiya 645 models that do have separate backs, which are the newer ones compared to this. Yeah, they're all very similar. You have this kind of thing you pull out, and this you'll attach to the back if it's got a separate back. Yeah, it's in the camera, but you basically have this kind of thing which you'll be putting your film on. Whichever part of it has the little start, that's going to be your empty side where you're putting the roll of film on. You're actually going to wrap it around so that the black side's showing, and then you're going to wrap it around and slit it into the little slit here in your 120 taking spool. and then you're gonna advance it until the arrow kind of lines up with the start, and then you're ready to put into your camera or into your film back, and then you just advance it until it gets to the number 1. Of course, there's definitely mistakes you can make on the way. I've made them myself, but I hope this video does help you and make it so you don't end up losing a whole day of shots or a whole roll of shots because you didn't load it properly. This series is a bit more educational and more about the basics, so I really hope that this was able to help you out and that you're ready to go out there and shoot some film now. We're knowing that your shots are going to be there when you're done and when you send it off to get developed. But anyway, I hope you like the video, guys. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, turn on those post notifications so you know when there's a new episode. Anyway, I'm Josh, this has been Snapshots. Let's get out there, shoot some film.